One of the most important tasks of the graphic designer is to create order and organization in the layouts that they work on. Order, organization, and visual hierarchy let people know, let your viewer know where they should start in a document, where they should go next, and where they should finish, as well as giving clues about what is most important on the page. And the graphic designer achieves this largely through typesetting and some of the other compositional techniques that we talk about in White Space is Not Your Enemy. For right now, what I'm going to do is I am going to do a little demonstration of the impact of typesetting on visual hierarchy using a menu as an example. I've got some menu text here, and just at first glance, it's really kind of hard to see. It's hard to understand this menu. But if we simply start to, if we start to read it, you understand that there is an order here, and if we apply some typesetting to it, that'll start to come out. If you look closely, we've got antipasti in here, then we have the names of some things followed by a description, more food items, and down a little further we have another section, supa is soup. So basically we've got a couple of levels that we can create here. We can create some headings, we can create some styling for food names, and we can create some styles for some descriptions. I'm going to go ahead and start with the headline here, the very first one I have, that's the antipasti. If I just go ahead and find my character palette and choose a different font style, I am going to choose a bigger and a more decorative font than the body copy that's already in. And you see that it doesn't take very much for a headline to pop out just a little bit. Just simply by and make it even just a touch bigger here. So now you really see a difference between this and the thing that follows. I am going to next find the next thing in the visual order here, which would be the actual food names. We would scan a menu looking for the main category, which the antipasti was one of the categories, and then we would go ahead and look under that for the particular item that we wanted. So that actually requires a little bit of a style too. In the interest of not getting too many fonts and not getting too busy, I'm going to stick with the same family and just choose something that is just a little bit heavier for the names of the food items themselves. Got to be careful that it does not compete visually with the style above it. And then of course we have the food description itself, and you're starting to see it just a little bit. What I would start to do then of course is repeat some of the styles throughout. If I apply the same styling to the description or the actual food names, it starts to make a lot more visual sense. Like goes with like. Same typesetting for each of them means that each one of them is the name of a food item that's available on the menu. Now this helps greatly, but it doesn't help 100%. We could actually use a little space, and that's another thing that helps create order and organization. If you remember the Gestalt principles from the textbook, you know that we group like with like, and separating with a little bit of space lets people know which things belong together and which things are separate. So I'm actually going to separate each of these food items from each other a little bit by adding a little bit of space. And you see how much of an impact that makes in the readability, just by putting a little tiny bit of space in between each one of these things. And I might actually go and add a little bit of space after the antipasti as well, and maybe a little bit more space after the bruschetta, which is the last of the appetizers, to visually separate it from the soup. One last little thing I could do, just as a point of design, a point of standard practice, we've got dollars figures after each one of these. I might go and I might create a tab stop in here, which is the traditional way that we would set up menu items. I'm going to give myself a right aligned tab and a simple dot leader, which is a period. And then all I have to do is add that tab space in there, and you'll see that that suddenly adds even more visual understanding and hierarchy to the menu. Duplicate some styles here for consistency. This one's going to be a problem, so this one's going to have to be forced down to the next line. Just a little bit of typesetting, a little bit of font styling, and suddenly a jumble of words makes sense. We know where to start, we know where to stop, and we know where each one of the food items starts and stops within the set.